Right, so we do a live section and into embargo. Does that work?
Yeah.
Perfect. Good.
All good. Hey Dennis, how are things?
Very well. Good. All very good.
Good to get down to Brighton after a couple of weeks in Northern.
Yeah. It's nice to get a change. You know, even though Northampton was brilliant for us in terms of facilities around and what we got done down there for being based down there for just over 2 weeks, which was really, really nice. But always nice to have a change now and kind of different setting and a kind of a different mindset as well, which is freshens the mind up. So it's been good.
In terms of a squad update, can you just fill us in on how you're looking after the weekend? Sam obviously picked up that knock in the first half. How's she doing?
Yeah, she's we've taken her off kind of over kind of precautionary. She wasn't moving well after in the game when she took that knock, but since we've had an install session today, so and everyone has taken part in terms of getting through what our plan is for the week going forward. So at the moment, everyone is in contention for the week.
Everyone's in contention. Would that include Aoife, Wafer then as well?
Yes, so she's continued on her progression under that, and she will take part into training as well. She did today and will tomorrow as well.
Has she been involved in like full contact yet?
She's been doing it previously. Last week she was doing it in a controlled area, so next week or tomorrow will be kind of a push on from that. Will be more of an inside in a team environment, which is be the next step to her. So we're hopeful of everything going well for her, and she'll be in contention for the weekend.
Given the fact that you are through to a quarter final though, and ultimately you're still knocking around next week, win or lose at the weekend, is it a case that if there are any doubts over Aoife, over Sam or over anyone else, that you would just sit them out this week?
It's kind of like first and foremost for us is making sure that we, you know, if people are fit and ready to play, we want to get them on the park, and because ultimately we're going out to perform and we're going out to actually win the game. You know, that's been the goal for us all this time. So I understand that there's a quarter final, but the way we've been building and how we train and competing for training and etc. is we're fully focused on this game and making sure that we have a performance in place to give us that momentum going into a quarter final. So if everyone is available to play, we want to get them on the pitch.
And does it feel in the last couple of days that the tournament has kind of stepped up a gear now, that we're into, you're playing against the world champions, and from next week it's knockout rugby?
Yeah, there is and there naturally will have to be kind of a mindset, and we've briefly spoke about that, is that the margin for error now is going to get a lot smaller, so we need to be on the ball on everything we do in terms of how we train, and obviously then come the weekend and when we're playing games. So games are going to get tougher and tougher as the weeks go by, but I think what we've done and how we've worked over the last year, I think we're ready for that, and we've shown that time and time again, and how well we do now against the tier ones.
Is Aoife herself kind of rearing to go, or what's she like?
Yeah, she's bursting to go. If the game is today, she'd want to play it. So it's kind of, there's a bit of control in her and holding her back a bit, but she'll be ready, and we've no doubts when she gets onto the field, she'll be bulling to go. So it's she's in her mind, she's ready to go. So it's exciting for her.
And Sam, was it her hip thing? Because I know she was kind of doing her leg, or what was it exactly? Was it the hip?
Yeah, it was a hip. Yeah, so when she took the knock from the tackle, she took a kind of a knock to the hip, and then just wasn't moving freely. So it's nothing major at all. She's kind of moving around fine today. She went through the install and everything, so it was nothing we're not worried about it.
And so can you feel yourselves, I know you're kind of only getting used to this new environment now, that everything is kind of sharper now? Like, do you feel that this is a big week?
Yeah, it is, and it's we've kind of slightly freshened it up a small bit in terms of, we did a day off yesterday and we did kind of an install today. It's just to make sure that we're fresh going into the game, because we know, again, this is going to be a very physical battle, and as well going into a quarter final, that physicality is going to ramp up. So it was making sure that we get the balance right of the detail being done, and we would have kind of planned this way back in June, when we planned out our kind of camps in June and July, where we kind of mimicked these group stages. So it's nothing new for them at the moment. We would have done bits and pieces of this back in pre-season. So it's just making sure the finer details are done, and then anything else that we would have picked up was just fine tuning those as well. So it's
I was in the Black Ferns camp yesterday, and they were saying, we are a totally different team from the one that lost to you last September. Like, what are you expecting? I mean, we're all expecting some kind of reaction. What are you expecting?
Yeah, well, of course it's probably a natural thing that you're going to get a reaction, but we're expecting a huge physical battle. That's without a doubt. And obviously they've got incredible players and athletes all around the park. So for us, it's making sure that we're on it from both like a set piece point of view and a defensive point of view, because we're very aware of the threats they have around the field. So it's getting our game right, making sure we're playing in the right areas of the park, and not giving them kind of easy entries like what we probably did last week. So it's ensuring we don't do that, and that's we've spoken about that and putting things in place to ensure we don't do that.
Final one for me, 100% success at the scrum. That's okay, isn't it?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's there's always something to work on, but yeah, I'm happy at where it's at, and especially from a depth point of view, where we're not solely relying on the players that have the likes of Linda and say Noddy, and with Elle coming in, she was brilliant at the weekend. She's kind of taken this in her stride really, and she's performed very, very well. So overall it's been positive, but for me, and I've spoken to the girls this morning, it's we're under no illusions as either what's in front of us and for the remainder of the competition. So it's ensuring it's good to have that confidence, but making sure that we don't slack on that and keep driving it forward as we move forward in the competition.
Dennis, can I just ask you said everyone took part today in the install. What exactly does an install look like, and how does that compare to a full contact session?
So it's mainly, so we did indoors. So basically you're implementing all your kind of plays or your kind of game plan for going into the weekend, and then we'll test it then tomorrow tomorrow will be our big session. So we kind of go through everything, all the details and stuff today, kind of run through it all, and then tomorrow will be the big session where we'll test it in a contact environment.
Okay, so it's more of a walkthrough today, was it?
Bit more than a walkthrough, but yeah.
Dennis, Claire from the BBC. If you took one thing that's most precious to you above all else from the opening two matches of your campaign, what would you say that is?
Our ability to score tries now, our ability to build phases and go through a number of phases and start finishing them off at the right times and pulling the trigger at the right times. I think that's been a big positive for us. And there's a lot of work that goes kind of into that in terms of getting us in the right areas of the field, putting teams under pressure for us to get the ball back or getting penalties, etc. So I think the big thing for us is now we're not one-dimensional at all. There's a lot of strings to our bow, and we obviously want to keep growing that. But I think that's been the big positive for us at the moment.
And that battle between Clee and Neve for the number 2 jersey each week, that's got to be one of the most hotly contested positions in the squad. Just talk me through, in your opinion, where each of their strengths and differences lie, and what perhaps might be a factor in deciding who gets the nod this week.
They're probably two. They're different players in terms of what Clee brings is that physical edge she has. She's a big ball carrier, and obviously she's very good at set piece as well. And then with Neve, I think it's the work rate she has around the field. She gets through an enormous amount of work in every game. Obviously, a very, very intelligent defender, and then equally very, very capable at set piece time. They're very, it's scrum sessions are quite interesting, the battle between the two of them, and it's which is great to see. But it's always a conversation going into games in terms of what player do we need for this, and in terms of how the game is going to go, and then in some cases it's how does this look like when bringing her off the bench, for example? What does that give us? So it's that conversation is always very, very difficult, and it's definitely not an easy one.
And that's a live conversation for you as a group, because England were told, every single member of the squad, what jersey they would wear for all 3 pool stage matches, whether or not they were involved. That was laid out months ago by all accounts. How constant are those selection conversations your end, especially ahead of a match like this?
They happen all the time. It's never kind of set in stone. I think Scott has done that from the very start when he came in. he's, you know, we speak about our training environment and how we compete a lot in everything we do. And he wants all of us as coaches to, whatever we're actually doing, is to make sure that there's a compete element to it. So, you know, especially in our big sessions and our contact days, that's when we sit down and review and that's when we decide on selection. So it's never set in stone in terms of this is what we're looking at. And there's been times where after those sessions that you might have had something in mind, or you might have drafted up something, and it's, you know, there's one or two that fall out of that, and it's. But and the girls are fully aware of that, and that's the importance of our compete sessions. So every week, and it's important we hold on to that.